Hello everyone and welcome to the Gunpla Network. I'm the Spicer and the recap for episode 9 of Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury is brought to you by Duels. Because this is pretty much just a duel episode, so get hype, action's happening. So as we open on the episode here, we get a kind of a little bit of a background on Grassley House. We get, there we go. Some of the members talking about duels and Guel and when he was dueling, and just kind of giving a background on like kind of the dynamics here and why Shadiq does things his way. And we get a meeting with Girl Boss Delling here a little bit earlier on, and just kind of talking about why he didn't want to do the whole duel thing. It's kind of a nice, like, full circle for the end of the episode, but generally speaking, this is just really him macking on Girl Boss Delling. And they just kind of have this little conversation. It's a bit of a back and forth. We get the OP, which is still good, still bangs, it's great. Now let's go ahead, and here we go. Oh, no, not yet. There we go. Okay, we're getting there. So Earth House got vandalized, or Gundam Inc. at this point. And they're all kind of wondering what they're going to do. It's, since the last episode, they made a rule where if you can't necessarily prove that your machines aren't going to kill people that pilot them, that you can't have a startup. So Shadiq comes in, he's like, hey, we'll take care of this, we'll bring you into the Grassley umbrella, and Girl Boss Delling is like, nah, fam, we're not doing that. That's dumb. I'm not going to lose this. And they have this kind of back and forth. And this is where Girl Boss bosses again challenge Shadiq to a duel. And things kind of kick off. They have this meeting here with the Lesser Guel, where they effectively just kind of put the terms out for their duel. Shadiq's like, hey, I want to own Gundam Inc. And Girl Boss Delling's like, we want the rule to be removed so that we can make the startup, since you just made it specifically for us, and that's kind of a dick move. Girl Boss Delling also has a stipulation that they want it broadcast to everyone outside of the Bennett group to kind of drum up PR for their company, I suppose, since I guess... any publicity is good publicity, but I guess if they're kind of aiming for the medical sector, it's probably a good thing to get the name out there. But yeah, they have this whole thing. This is a team battle of 6v6, so that guy's freaking out. He's like, whoa, we have like one other mobile suit, bro. We broke as hell. We can't afford this. And, Girl Boss Delling is like, you know what? I've got this, but I'm not going to say I got this. I'm going to let these guys freak out. He's like, oh, well, that's kind of your problem, bro. I don't speak broke. Sorry. He's not a fan of these people. Then they're like, yeah, that guy's not a fan of those people. And they kind of go through all their talking points here. And this girl, I guess the new hot one, I guess, or not, the new hotness, as Will Smith would say, from Men in Black. 2, I think? 2 or 3. So the one on the left is all mad at the one on the right. We'll find out later in the episode. It's pretty stupid, but yeah, it's just really, sending home that the Grassley House girls are very odd, to say the least, but in some instances they're just straight dicks. Anyway, the whole school's talking about it. They're like, well, we have literally one pilot. It's Choo Choo, and then we have, the Ariel and Suletta. So who else is going to pilot? They're thinking about it. They come up with answers, and they're like, okay, well, I'm going to do some planning. You guys got to get out of here. So they go look for support. We get a little bit more of Nika and Shadiq, but we don't really get a lot of information. We definitely know that she's not... He calls her an in-between. So it's almost more like she's going to be a weird negotiator in the future, of kind of vouching for Shadiq or something, because she's not, like, as a mechanic, you think her role would be to sabotage something, and that's not happened. And I think since Shadiq's main goal here is to have some Gundam tech, that he is having her feed information to him effectively. So it's less of a, hey, we need a competitive edge, and more of, hey, we just need the raw data, then we can, build it ourselves or whatever. So that's kind of what I'm assuming here. They don't specifically say that, but it's a very short scene just to kind of remind us that Nika's here, and she's not actually in the rest of this episode, which is super weird for, like, the head mechanic. I guess she is technically in the duel scenes, but then we get Suletta here saying support over and over again, trying to think of what support pilots there might be out there that she could go reach out to. And we get Guel, and they do kind of the fake out. I mean, they're building it up, but Guel is like, nah, I'm not gonna help you. I've got some daddy issues, so I'm kind of working through that right now in the woods by myself. But it is definitely setting up this thing that he's like, I'm kind of thinking about it a little bit, but I don't want to disappoint dear old daddy. But Space Musk Senior is a hard man to impress, as we'll find out later. Anyway, this is an iconic shot. Look at that. Look at Guel and his weird mane of brown pink hair. A lot of really interesting, like, just stoic, static shots here. Anyway, they do this. Shadiq is having a conversation with the girl boss Stelling, and she basically is just like, yeah, I can't trust you. And he seems really upset and offended by this. Like, look at that face. He's like, whoa. I still like Shadiq quite a bit. I think still he's just a smooth man, but he's not having an episode. But yes, he walks away, and he's like, you should probably go talk some sense into your girl. And Suletta's like, nah, I trust girl boss Stelling. He's like, all right, gloves are coming off. Get some serious eyes here. He's like, I'm going to take your Gundam and your girl. Mr. Cilio Gundam and your girl. What's up? Anyway, Shadiq is like, whatever. We get the launch sequence, which is kind of standard. We do get this lady, whose name I cannot remember for the life of me, wouldn't lend them the Faract, because I guess it's still like Mad Jank or Destroyed or some. They don't really specifically say, but OG Elan here is like, yeah, they're not going to go for it, but, if you want them to support you, show some results. And they sent 4 different, I can't even remember the name of these, 4 of the Pale House grunt suits that Elan number 4 piloted several episodes back before he piloted the Faract. But they sent them some mobile suits because they, I guess, owe them money or something. I don't exactly know. I think maybe it's just kind of like a behind the backdoor dealing here. But yeah, he's being smug. She's like, well, I'm gonna get some results. And then we get the Grassley girls just doing their thing, and we get Shadiq looking pretty fly in the Michaelis here, and it's looking good. I do like the Michaelis much more than its prologue predecessor. But anyway, we get the launch sequence. We get pretty much all the Grassley girls are idols the school loves. And yeah, then we get to the launching sequence, and Choo Choo's ready to go. She's like, let's, got the championship belt on the line. This guy's not excited. He's very upset. Anyway, we get to see all of the different pilots for both sides come out. We get to see the grunt suit Michaelises. We get this guy. Gets Guel's even watching. And the fight begins. And I like that we're in like an atmosphere setting, even though they're still in the same spot. They're in space. But it is really cool that they, through this weird imagery tech, they can kind of change this so we don't get just bored with space battles or blank gray backgrounds or jungles or whatever. It's been different each time, and I quite enjoy that. And they have an in-universe justification, which is cool. Anyway, so they take the charge, and Choo Choo's like, cool, I'm going to be sniper support, except for Shadiq and the Michaelis are like, no, no, you're not. So they start the fight, and the Grassley girls start their assault. And keep in mind, the Grassley girls, she says they're all top guns of the pilot program, but I don't know if that means they're like just behind Guel in terms of capability, or if they're just like really good and maybe have gone through like a higher level program or something. But the Earth people, except for Choo Choo and Suletta, are not pilots, so they're gonna get bodied as you would expect. there's a really cool like head kick rip shoot move that one does. It's pretty cool. We get Renee here charging this one, whose name I can't remember, because the Earth Girl didn't go to lunch with Renee's like 12th backup boyfriend. It's a really stupid justification, but whatever. It's fine. Like, people liking this girl. I'm still not about it. I don't like. There's even less to like here than the previous one, who was like a Cecilia, I think, who just sits on the couch. So, not a fan. Anyway, they try to regroup a little bit, and they get ganked pretty hard. Guel's like, wow, maybe I should have stepped in because this is looking real bad. These guys kind of suck. And then his dad calls, and he's like, oh, screw that noise. Then his dad's like, hey, yeah, you're not going to go to school anymore. I'm just going to send you off to one of our subsidiaries, which is effectively disowning him in the least, like, problematic way. Like, he's still going to, probably be financially stable and not living in the woods, but, yeah, he's never going to do anything probably important. So Guel's kind of at a crossroads at this point. Like, look at how panicked he looks, and just like, oh no, I'm shaken. I'm shook. Anyway, we get a moment with Guel, and so there's like a 5-second scene of just his feet. It's strange, but anyway, Ariel's fighting, Choo-Choo's fight. Choo-Choo actually holds her own in like the Demi Trainer custom she has against the Michaelis that does eventually get the better of her here, but like, girl was doing some work. She didn't immediately get bodied, so props to her. Then the Ariel gets surrounded and pretty ganked because they break out to the anti-Gundam fields, which I think I like the look of much better here, because it's all built into the equipment. It's not just weird orbs that float off the back. But it shuts everything down, and this lady's freaking out. They call it the antidote, I think. The anti-Gundam stuff, and Alon seems to know what it is. We also get... hold on, let me see if I can get the exact point here. We get Lady Prospera is also shown here. I'm not sure exactly what point, but she looks kind of stern and serious. And this is the point that Suletta's like, "Oh, okay, well, I mean, I don't know why everyone's not talking to me, like all the gun bits and stuff." And Ariel, and she's like, "Okay, well, I guess I'll have to do this on my own." And starts like. This dude loses his shit. This dude is all about the Ariel just getting clapped. But, they go in on their fight, and the Ariel starts getting beat. Like, look at that. Look at the, like, just beaten down, just missing arms and armor and pieces here that the Ariel's at. Like, look at that's so art. Like, the background right there. Desktop background. Let's go. Anyway, Suletta's like, okay, I'll do this on my own. And then the gun bits are like, nah, we got you, fam. Don't worry. We're just the dead children that your mother killed to make a Gundam or something. And Lady Prospera cries one singular tear because she's like, yeah, we're going to bone these guys now. Let's go. This is the revenge I've been waiting for. And we get an interesting new development that the veins and stuff, the circuitry that we see in the Ariel goes blue. So I guess this is like a heightened form of the Gundam connection or something. And she starts wrecking shop. She like bodies 2 or 3 of these people immediately. And like look at just like how monstrous the Ariel looks there. Like it is like not even just from a damage standpoint, but just like how gaunt it looks. It's so good. You can see the like beanie guy there like, whoa, this is bad. Shadiq's kind of sweating a little bit, and this lady's like, all right, you're not gonna touch Shadiq. And then she's like, oh well, I'm gonna help. And then she gets bodied. Shadiq rushes in, cuts off a leg, and he's like, I got you now, girl, to immediately get shot in the head by none other than everyone's favorite choo-choo train, Choo-Choo, being supported by the rest of the Earth fam. It broke her gun, but she did it anyway, and she just capped. Like, look, just unaware, just not even paying attention, just solely focused on the Ariel to get bammed. Like, look at how satisfied she is. She's like, yeah, we're doing it. And so the Earth House wins, and Ariel gets out and Suletta gets out to Ariel and does the dumb little dance, and it's great. Look at how happy she is. She's here trying to just do her best, and Shadik's like, all right, whatever. They are doing really good on space YouTube, so good for them. They're celebrating, and Suletta actually has kind of this nice moment. She's like, hey, Ariel, I'm really sorry I keep destroying you. Because, if Ariel is somewhat sentient, that has gotta suck for Ariel. Like, she's big sad. So they sign the agreement after the duel. There's the kind of stipulation beforehand. Shadik's like, whatever. Delian Jr. is like, whatever. And, she cuts off this tomato. I'm assuming that's probably it's not ripe. I don't know why she cut it, but maybe it's overly ripe. I don't know. I don't know tomatoes. I don't have tomato tech. But anyway, this is actually a really interesting episode. I think this is probably one of the more flushed out houses, just because it seems like Shadik has a little bit more control in what he does and is like scheming versus Guel, who's just a pilot. And then you have Alon, who's kind of disconnected because their whole like weird clone replacement thing. So you have some disconnection there, but overall, very good episode. Still getting more and more Gundam as time goes on. We got a lot of action this episode. But let me know in the comments down below what you think. And of course, do your best to stay safe and keep on building.